to do that.
Hey y'all, we is live. It's the Pearl of Wisdom Show, the all NHL edition, which is every day, all the time. How's everybody doing in the house? Welcome Victoria, welcome Go Caps. I thought I saw Hockey News Reports in here as well. We're getting started. Of course, there's a few late comers, which we'll wait for because we want to look at how we did in our picks last night. This, of course, is Pro Joe. The professor's in the house today, and everybody loves that. You guys are always asking me, writing me letters all the time. Where's Pro Joe? How come he's not on more? Well, he's a busy guy because he's a professor. Professors do a lot of stuff that we don't even understand, and but he gets in here every once in a while. Jacket's back. So how you
Jacket
doing,
and
Joe?
Joey are back. Yeah.
Joey Jacket. Wow, I see Jacket. I remember. You don't remember that? You don't know that show, do you? Do you know that show?
Oh,
Joe.
wait.
Joe.
Hockey News just said, huh? What'd you say?
Do you know that show where Romper Room, where she had the little mirror and she had the little thing?
No,
And no, that would have been way before
no.
your time, wouldn't
How
it?
you doing, Joe? I've watched those before my time. Like, I've watched every episode of Leave It to Beaver and other old TV shows. It's just, it depends on the show.
Yeah,
Um,
I was just gonna say that I when we were coming on here, which is fantastic timing. Stahl is traded to the Montreal Canadiens. Yes.
yeah. Yeah, that's actually a really good move because they need, I think we talked about it in the offseason, me, you, and Steele, when we talked about the Canadians team. If you
Yeah.
saw anything with their team, they really just needed a veteran other than Deneau, a veteran center that can kind of man their young guys ship a little bit and guide them along. Where
Yeah.
Deneau is kind of that, but Deneau was never a pivotal goal scorer, like a guy that would produce high level points in the league, like Stahl
Right.
was at one time. So he's
Yeah.
probably a little bit of a better mentor for a Suzuki and Kakiniemi of the world than a Selke level guy is, which is not what those two are going to become. That's what Deneau
Yeah.
is. You're not going to see Kakiniemi and Suzuki become Selke guys. You're going to see them become some of the better offensive players if they hit their peak.
Yeah, but I mean, let's remember when Stahl was in his prime, he was darn near Selke level defensively too. He was a great
Oh yeah,
two-way
he was
guy.
just great offensively. He was just above Deneau. Like
Yeah,
Deneau's here,
yeah.
Stahl's scale was here in his
Oh
prime.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I would say maybe Deneau might be a better defensive forward than Stahl was, but as an overall forward, Stahl was way above Deneau for sure, no doubt about that. He was a true, pure number one, play against everybody's top line, score you 60 to 80 points. I don't know, what was his top end stuff? I guess we should talk about Stahl for a while. What was the most points that Stahl got? And
Let me on
we got to
hot.
also remember when we're talking about points, Stahl kind of came up through the tail end of that clutch and grab time too, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah, he would have been. He came up. His career track is '04 to now, to
yeah,
present day. His most points in one singular season was his 100-point season, actually his second season, which was '05-06 in Carolina. He had 45 goals and 55 assists.
right.
His next best one was an 82-point season in '07-08, which was 38 and 44. Since in the last decade, his best season, well, before this year, was the first year of the decade with 76 points at 33 goals and 43 assists. Since then, his best season of late was in Minnesota when he went off at 33 in 2017-18 for 76 points, and he scored 42 goals in Minnesota that year with 34 assists.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So,
I would say he's been good for Minnesota. Obviously, since he's been there, he went to play with Buffalo this year. That's a team you're never going to see great stats out of. I would say you're going to at least see him go back to his once he left Minnesota type of production with a lineup like Montreal. You're not going to see Stahl go back to being 42 goal scorer. I mean, that was a breakout of a season. He didn't do that in years, and then all of a sudden he did it. But you should be able to see the level of 19 and 28 in him. I don't know if we'll get to those numbers, but I just mean playing at that level on a team like the Canadians that's playing for something where you're kind of just beat down and out of it if you're on the Sabres at this point.
Yeah, I mean, okay, the reason why I went to the Sabres was because they had issues there, which obviously didn't get ironed out. They're trying to change the culture there in Buffalo, and we'll see what Kevin Adams can do about that. Sort of like Zito had much more, seemed to have much more of a success in that area with Florida. However, I don't think the culture problem was quite as ingrained in Florida as is in Buffalo. I mean, that is a long-standing, not going to solve it all at one time issue there for sure. So going to Montreal, we just had this kind of issue sort of crop up. I don't know. I think it could have been actually stewing for a little while here in Montreal. We've heard Weber this year come out and say there was a room issue already. And a guy like Stahl is a guy that can certainly add a better energy to a room. Like he's a very positive person. He's a very straightforward person. He doesn't get offended. He lifts people up. He's a great leader, and that's really what they need there. I would say. Um, which I mean, it's definitely worth the shot. I don't know what they gave up for him.
I
As
don't think
far
it came out yet. I'm trying to look. Sierra said 32 minutes ago, hearing Sabres are working on it. It wasn't even fully official yet because of everything that has to be done after you agree. But I'm trying to look on other people's Twitters. Right now, it doesn't seem like anybody has an official um, who's going where yet.
um,
Anton Strawman was also placed on waivers. That's the other news of the day from Florida.
so what happened? By the way, what happened to Kokaniemi? I noticed he's not on the roster. He's on the non-roster with Joel Armia. Oh, maybe they were part of the COVID thing that was going on.
I think they were part of
Yeah.
the COVID issues that were
Oh,
going on with
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Montreal.
Right, 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 right.
That puts people on the non-roster. Yeah.
So here's the thing about a great thing about him too is they have had some issues with players wanting to play certain positions and stuff like that in Montreal too. One of them left for Columbus and now is playing left wing for Columbus. Imagine that. Uh, that was Domi. Um, they're bringing in a guy Stahl who will play wherever you tell him to. I imagine he's going to play wing here, and he's going to play wing with guys like Suzuki and Kokaniemi and stuff like that, and just kind of be there as a support mechanism for them, as a encourager, and to help the coach get the best out of these kids. That's what I think is going to happen here. That's what I would say would probably be best. I don't think they're going to play him on the fourth line and stuff like that. I doubt it. I don't think they're going to have him take Philip Danault's spot. And, so that's what I think is going to happen here myself.
Yeah, it depends. If they want to put him at center, I feel like he'll still play a decent amount of center in terms of face-offs at least, because you have if Suzuki and or Kakaniemi when they're back are not looking as good on the face-off dot, you're probably going to throw Stahl in like the Flyers did with Giroux for face-offs. I would think,
Yeah,
even if
yeah,
he's not technically playing center.
yeah, that's
But
true. Yeah.
I I think they brought him in so they can help their face-off game a bit. Where we see in this league, they were talking about it on I can't remember what broadcast it was because I've watched so many games this week, but one of the broadcasts on NHL TV, they were bringing up the fact of how hard it is for young guys to come up, and in the NHL, the differences of how effective people learn all these tricks on the face-off circle is to catch up at the NHL level immediately, where the AHL to juniors, it's not nearly as hard because people don't know all those tricks yet. But in the NHL level, there's different ways you learn to cheat the face-off that the ref doesn't catch when you become a veteran. You're not going to know that as Nick Suzuki and Jesperi Kakaniemi as a youngster until Deneau or somebody else kind of hones it into your head. So I think bringing in Eric Stahl is really going to help them in terms of not losing games just because of less puck possession than the other teams, simply just because they can't win and the faceoff dot as good as some of the other teams.
Oh, Kyle Mercer, you're not going to be here for picks? Oh my gosh, somebody must have died in the family or something. Um, yeah, well, and the other thing about veterans is, and the hardest thing for kids coming up about for face-offs is knowing the league. You know, it's knowing who you're what the tendencies are of the people you're going to be facing and all that kind of stuff like that. And veterans can kind of help you out that way. There's a learning curve to that in a big way. It blows me away personally when you get guys like Joe Horvat who come in and are like high face-off guys right off the bat. Like that's insane. Like how did they pick that up so fast? That means that Bo Horvat has been doing game tape and studying every center in the league before he even got into the before he got his chance in the NHL. That guy was studying.
Yeah, I think it also depends on the player because when you're as offensively skilled and athletic and not the like if you're a guy that speaking of Horvat, when at his best, he could even be a guy that's at least top five somewhere when it comes to a Selkie in the future.
I bet you he wins a
But
I wouldn't
yeah,
doubt if he won a
when you're
Selkie. Yep.
defensive and face off, that your defense leads to your offense, you're going to want to be good at face offs a hell of a lot sooner, in my opinion at least, than someone like Kakaniemi and Suzuki that can get
True.
away with it just because of their finesse skill,
That's a good
because they're
point.
going
Yeah.
to do a lot more. That's why I think guys of Horvats. If you go back to the beginning of Backstrom's career, he was pretty good as soon as he came over. Also, like those guys know they have to hit it right away at that spot because that's a like 50% of their game almost. Where for Suzuki and Kakaniemi, they're so skilled. Stamkos is now great at faceoffs, but when he first came up, he was good, but I wouldn't say great. Those guys don't have to be as great because they're just elite playmakers and finesse players. Where Horvat's a great player, but it's because his defense and his smarts lead to his offense, not necessarily because he dekes through an entire defense. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it has to do with what kind of a player you think you are. And then there's just some people who just that's all they do. You know, like Sidney Crosby probably would have watched game tape after game tape after game tape. He had the skill level to not have to worry about that, but he's just that kind of a that a personality kind of guy. What are they called? I can't remember. But almost crazy how much work Crosby puts into the game of hockey. I've heard him talk where basically it's like sometimes I wonder sometimes I wonder if it's even healthy that you're dedicated so much to one thing so often, right? Like it's not even hardly a balance to it. But yeah, but it is pretty amazing that a guy like Horvath can come in and do that. There's not too many guys that can though. Most kids coming into the league. I mean, Joe Thornton was horrible at faceoffs his first. I don't think Joe Thornton ever really got good at faceoffs, did he?
He got okay in San Jose. He was solid in San Jose
Was he?
for a period of time. He never got. I wouldn't say he ever got great at them, but he was good at faceoffs. I would say.
And he was one of the better defensive centers that ever played the game too. And people don't give him much credit for that because he was so good, such an amazing playmaker. It kind of overshadowed his overall game, but he was actually a really good defense. He grew into being a very good defensive player as well. Anyways, interesting news, and this, of course, after Bergevin said, "Oh yeah, I don't think we're gonna do too much movement." Nobody believes Bergevin when he says that. That's almost like a signal that for sure a trade is coming.
Yeah,
If,
that's
there,
entirely true. Whenever
if
Bergevin says that, I'm trying to see. I still don't see any updates on exactly who went where in terms of other than actually Stahl moving to Montreal. There's still no updates on anybody from looking at it here. So
Yeah, I haven't seen anything on the return. Yes, absolutely. Go check out Sports Fanatic News page. He's got some pretty original content over there. It's not just hockey; it's all sports. He's also going to do an all sports program every week. Yeah, we got lots of stuff. John, I don't know, like off the wall, John does live so much I don't even realize he's doing them sometimes. I get on my phone. Oh, John's live. Wow. Uh, Flyers are not going to beat the Sabres. Okay, well, we're going to get into
Did
that
you
because
see speaking of the Flyers, did you see Morin got fined for the Lemieux fight?
no,
The
I
fight
didn't.
at the end of the game where he got Lemieux on the head.
No, I didn't. Moran, you mean? I didn't even know
Yeah,
that
Moran
happened.
got fined for unsportsmanlike conduct against New York Rangers forward Brendan Lemieux for that fight in the last 58 seconds. He got fined 3.1724 million.
3 million. You can't
That's what
find a
it's.
you can't find a guy that much money.
Or no. Wait a minute, I read that wrong. Three
1,000.
thousand seventeen
Yeah,
for you.
yeah. You can't find a guy over. It's like it's practically a pittance. That kind of
Most
money.
people are saying it's worth every penny, though. And
Yeah,
then other people are saying his teammates ought to chip in and pay him back for that fine for having an ounce of grit and credibility that
that's
the rest of them severely lack.
that's true. It's just the well, we'll get into that because we're going to go into the games here right away, and I want to get. We're going to be doing all the picks for Friday, which is only four, and we're going to try to do all the Saturdays
Yeah,
too. So we
because
better
one
get.
got postponed.
We got to be rolling here. One got postponed tonight.
I thought that was why there was only four. Wasn't there supposed to be you
Oh
guys in
yeah. That's true. Yeah,
Montreal? Yeah.
yeah, probably. Yeah. Okay, let's. I got to bring up. I haven't even brought up the score yet, but we're going to be talking lots about Philly. They just have no confidence. They have no nothing. It's a sad state for our team, buddy. Sad state.
Yeah, I didn't really watch most of that game after a certain point yesterday. I just put on different games and went, yeah, screw you
Oh yeah.
all. I'm
So
to
did
this game anyway.
so did I. Somebody said Philly's going to lose to Buffalo. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Wouldn't
Jacket
surprise
said
me
the
at all.
Henderson Silver Knights would beat the Flyers.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, last night's games. We'll go over the scores and we'll talk about each game. Uh, the first one was very interesting. Did you happen to watch this game? First of all,
Which
I
one
would
of what?
not. That's the I'm going to say right away here. The Bruins and the Islanders.
Yes, I
Uh,
did. Yeah.
you did watch that game. The Bruins put out a pretty good show for a team that hadn't played in a long time. What happened to Rask is a mystery. He was going to be in all day, and then I turn on the game and Halak's in. Apparently Rask is injured again, which is a really crushing blow for the Bruins. They're not the same without Halak there. Um, I
You
had
mean
the I
without Rask there or without Halak there?
without Rask there. I don't
Yeah.
find them to be the same team at all. I mean, Halak is fine, okay, but to play all the time, it just starts to fall apart for the Bruins, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think they are more supplanted just because they do obviously have the bees, Danny Vladar, and then they have a guy that won the goaltender of the week, and I believe it was his first week, when he played for Providence. In I'm trying to remember. Oh, Jeremy Swayman, that's who it is,
Yeah.
as a goaltender. So obviously Vladar, who played pretty good in his game and got the W, would be the next hand. And then Swayman, I think, is showing that he could progress significantly quicker than I think the Bruins anticipated from his play in the AHL already. So it would concern me if it lasts beyond another couple weeks. If this gets solved and the Bruins get in, anything can happen in the playoffs, and they definitely have the goaltending depth for anything to happen. So they have the experience for them to go the right way if he comes back at the right time. So unless if this is lingering like as the playoffs are about to hit, then I would be like, all right, well, Vladar doesn't have playoff experience other than watching from last year. So that might be more of a concern, but as of now, it's not like A+ concern to me. It would be more of like a C+ concern to me until it
Yeah,
lingers.
I think well, first of all, let me go through the scores here. Serrano 5-3 Isles, close. Irish
Capital
five
Bruins.
three Bruins, CL 3-1 Islanders, Ulysses 2-1 Bruins, Sasha 3-1 Islanders, Go Caps 2-1 Bruins, Avatar 4-2 Isles, Mercer 3-1 4-2 Isles, another close one. Perlo 2-0 Islanders, Julie 3-0 Bruins, Rad 4-1 Bruins, and Victoria. Victoria's in the house
4-3.
right now too. 4-3 Islanders to Victoria. Let me see some hype in the chat for
There we
Victoria.
go. Congratulations, Victoria. And on this game, how about Pavilia? He won it for the in the Flyers game, and then Halak should have saved that, but it got in, and he won it in the Sabres game, or not the Bruins game as well. So only has 5 goals, not doing as good as last year, but in recent games coming up clutch for the Islanders and producing really well. And then Wallstrom continued his hot streak, getting his ninth goal. All of a sudden, he's been on a ridiculous fiery pace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They really need guys like Belvillier to step up right now with Lee being injured. That's a big injury for them, and
Mhm.
so far it hasn't totally knocked him over because the Islanders are just like that, right? Barry Trotz is an incredible coach. We could start putting, I think, Paul Maurice up there with those guys too. But we'll talk about that when we get to the Winnipeg stuff.
Yes.
But um, yeah, great game. It was just a really good game. It was a solid game overall. I thought Boston really put up a good show. I was a little concerned to see what they would look like not playing for so long, but they didn't look too bad at all. Um, I didn't think Tenorti was going to be back. He was in. I've really noticed Tenorti since he went in Boston. He's looked really good there.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the market. Once you go somewhere like Boston compared to playing in Nashville or elsewhere, you're going to r kind of skyrocket your recognition, I guess is a way to
Yeah.
put it.
I've been pretty
When you
vocal.
actually
I've been pretty
perform.
vocal on my love for Tenorti though when he was in Nashville. I like
Oh
Tenorti a
yeah,
lot.
I'm just saying otherwise. Like I think other people would take notice of somebody.
Yeah,
I don't think
absolutely.
people
Yeah,
go on
yeah.
their NHL TV and go, "Oh my God, I got to watch the Predators tonight."
That's true.
I think a decent amount of people go on their NHL TV and say, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'll catch the Bruins game tonight." But
Well, and Oliver Wallstrom, we'll talk about him real quick. He struggled early, but he's hitting his maturity level now. Boy, that guy looks good.
Mhm.
They got something in this kid,
I
right?
think it was smart. They honestly pulled what the Colts did in football with Peyton Manning with Wallstrom. They kept seeing he wasn't fully ready in the first couple weeks, but instead of sending him went down, they went, let's have him go through his rough patches now, so
Yeah.
he can kind of think this kid's smart enough to not let it beat him down. It'll just make him work harder to get to his strides, and that's exactly what it's done. So that was really smart by them to actually let him figure that out at this level rather than being sent up and down like 5 times. So that was actually a pretty good play by the Islanders. They know their coach gets the most out of people and really knows the positioning for them. So I think they did it right by him, and it's definitely panning out for them now. And then Bavillier seems like he's going to step up in Lee's absence. He's been better the last couple games, so if that continues, I still think this team right now, since I think Pittsburgh um, has a better chance to not be there right there with Washington and the Isles by the time the season's ends. They'll probably be in third, but I don't think they'll be 1 or 2 points behind them.
Yeah.
One of those two teams have the best chance to win the division, but as of now, I would still give it to the Isles as long as Bavillier keeps stepping up to the degree he's looked in these last couple games with Lee being out.
Yeah, they seem to just as a team they play fantastic. And then there's the really cool story of Hickey, who went through injuries and family members passing away and all of that, and hadn't played for years. I hadn't played in the league for 2 to 3 years or something like that. High draft pick, and now he's come back and he's actually looked better than ever, which is really cool there. But we better get to another game so we can keep this rolling because we got a half an hour to get through these ones. I guess we'll just get it out of the way, buddy. Uh, if this ever shows up. Yeah, let's just get this out of the way. Rangers versus Flyers, and I don't think anybody got this right. Irish, the
Uh,
closest, I won't read them all off here. I had 5-3 Rangers. I was close. Uh, I was probably the closest, actually. A lot of people had the Flyers. Julie, Sasha, CL always has the Flyers. It's
yeah,
Serrano. Irish was close at 5-2, but this is a sad state here, bud. And I've been celebrating Carter hard ever since he was in Sherwood Park here in Alberta. I've absolutely loved the kid, and it's just I don't really get all that thing, because hockey's just fun to me. Like I don't like my team loses, it's like, oh, that sucks, but it's usually not like, freaking out type stuff. But this is getting really sad, and it's for me
yeah,
personally, it's getting most sad for Carter.
yeah. I mean, I think it's a pretty damning when you have a guy that you wanted to put at forward at the beginning of the year, move defense, look great in the AHL with the Phantom, in his backup compared to everyone else in your lineup last night against the Rangers and Samuel Moore. I mean, typically that's not how that should work. A guy's first game back in the NHL at defense in about a couple years should not be your most consistent defenseman on that particular giving night with Shane Gostisbehere, who's not even defensive. Um, that was our best defensive line last night. Ghost and Morin. I don't think coming into the game, you probably would have said, "Oh, I think the Flyers' best defensive line, if everyone else sucks and fails tonight, is going to be Ghost and Samuel Moore." But I always have believed in Morin when he's healthy. I mean, the big thing with him is not skill. They picked him to be this bruiser, this shot block guy, what he's been doing for the Phantom since moving back to defense. He showed the ability to do that. Obviously, he got fined $3,000, which is something we could agree or disagree about, but I won't go into that. He still showed the spunk and fight. And then his line mate showed that same spunk and fight in Shane Gostisbehere with things I can't say on this program. But in his post game interview, kind of calling people out and saying we need to do better. So I think people were finally just waiting. Where I think you need to see a little bit. G's having a good season on the ice. I think he's too nice off the ice sometimes to the team. Where I think as a captain, sometimes you have to be the one kind of cussing out the team and coming at the team. That shouldn't be Gostisbehere, where I know G after yesterday still kind of was a little bit more tampered with his comments. Maybe in the locker room he's yelling at people, and that would be fine if that's the case. But I think it's time for tamperedness in your comments has kind of gone away about a week ago at this point. If you're the captain, you kind of have to start pointing fingers at a certain point, say we need X, X, and X to get better now. So
Yeah, I like a great, and I know I bring him up a lot, but he is great. A quote by John Tortorella, who said that the only time I'm angry is when players don't believe in themselves. That's the only time I'm angry. And
which
this
you
has
can
got
see
to
that a bit now with the Flyers. That's what I
they
mean.
don't.
Like
That's
that's
what
kind of
that's what that's
yeah,
what I was about to say. Is what to get angry about here is there's too many players out there that don't believe in themselves. Like, don't even right now. Don't put your mind on winning. Put your mind on believing in your skill sets, that what you are, so that you can do whatever it is that you can do. If you make a mistake, like if I'm a coach right now, I'm like, I'm only going to get angry if I see anybody's head down. You guys are NHL players. You made it. You made it. You won already before you even got started to get on the ice today. You already made it, right? So when you're out
yeah,
there, head high, head high. Remember, you are an NHL player. Keep your head high. Play your game the best you can. I'm not going to give anybody crap for mistakes out there. The only two things I'm going to give people crap for is lack of belief and a lack of effort, which usually comes from a lack of belief. So that's what I would be looking at here. I don't know if that's what AV is doing. Maybe he already has and that hasn't worked. If that's the case, then you maybe just don't have the right pieces at all in that lineup, and they got to do a
Yeah,
complete change around.
because this is what G said, and I feel like this is still too tampered. He said guys are working hard. One bad bounce is turning into a second bad bounce. There isn't much to say right now. What's frustrating is we have a good team, know what we have to do. It sucks right now, but you have to keep at it. I feel like
That
that's still tampered.
that's
Like
a
I
great
feel
way of saying that. Yeah,
like that's not a bad quote. It's just I feel like at this point that's a quote you could have said 2 weeks ago, where the
yeah.
team sucked so much in March. There's one game you haven't allowed three or more goals in, which was the game you lost against the Islanders. I I just feel at a certain point you have to kind of be the guy that kind of says what Ghost came out and said and not as much what Giroux said, where I'll skip around the other, but it's just straight not good enough right now. We're letting guys just bleeping absolutely beat us up in front of the net. It makes our goaltenders look like absolute the other word for poop. And
Yeah.
it's not fair. So that's what Ghost came out and said. That seems like a statement from a captain to me, not a guy that's not even an A.
Right.
That's why I love Giroux, and I've always been one of his biggest fans. Right now, I think he's too calm. I think he needs to kind of help pull people accountable
Yeah.
because he's actually been pretty productive this year.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on from that because we got lots of games to do. The next game is the Devils and the Capitals, which while I'm waiting for that to come up, what was the score of that game? Because it'll take
Devils and
forever.
Caps was also a 4-3 game, same as the list, the same as the
Cap.
Isles game.
Okay,
Yeah,
Victoria had 5-2 Caps. Irish had 6-2 Caps. Sasha!
four
Sasha's
three.
on fire, man. 4-3 Capitals for Sasha. Everybody hype in the chat. All right. Tell me what you want for swag there, big guy. Uh, then it was Marcel 4-2, CL 2-0 Caps. Serrano had 3-2 Devils. Everybody else had Capitals, and nobody had 4-3 except for Sasha. So um, Jersey put up a pretty good fight in this game. I was watching it as well. This Jersey team is going to be good. It's just it doesn't have the pieces right now to be good. But it's not for a lack of
No,
it's not for a lack of effort, and it's not for a lack of very solid all around ice play with the members that they do have. They just have some guys that need to mature a little bit on the vine, right?
that and Blackwood was out for a while, which screwed them over. I think they would be
Yeah.
closer to 500 if he was actually in more. Wedgwood has actually looked solid compared to what I think people thought, but he's not a starter. So if you had
Mm-hmm.
McKenzie in more, I think he would have been in a better spot. But this game, Ovechkin blasted his one timer, but this was really Kuzi's show, scoring the one bad angle goal and then getting the tip in to win the game for Washington later. That's how he was my standout player of that game, at
Yeah.
least to me.
And
He's the
that
guy
was
that
one of the
really
few games
helped
this year where Kuzi
Washington.
was this. Yeah, that was one of the few games this year where Kuzi's kind of been a little quiet so
He's a
far
little
this year.
bit struggling, yeah. Where another guy, I think, in terms of you're talking about Devils that came back, Brat's been flying around the ice since coming back, and he
Mm,
blasted that one timer in the top corner that Vanacek had almost no chance on
yeah,
yesterday. So he keeps looking good out there on the ice. So I agree with you. The Devils are showing for next season they're
yeah,
moving in the right direction. It's good to have guys come back so it's good for them to see that. But obviously, the Capitals are the contending team this year, and they were able to pull it out because of his probably first big game of the season by Kuznetsov, like you said. So, but he was out for some time, so that has affected him. But
well, Kyle said that I would be an awesome coach. Yeah, I'm gonna use that. That's what I tell when I'm if there's ever a time when I'm angry with the little lady, I'll say that I'm not angry. I'm just coaching. By the way, if you're not married, don't do that. Don't say that. Not a good thing to say. But you better be married a long time and have a very secure relationship if you want to say something like that. Okay, Yeah, New Jersey, I think, is going to be good. Washington still, to me, continues to play down to their competition. It's been something that has been Washington. It's like a staple of the Washington Capitals that they play down to their competition. It seems. If they ever put and Laviolette must be it must be driving him crazy right now, even though they got a good record. Okay, there's a level to the Washington Capitals that every once in a while you see, and you go, if they played like that, 80% of the time they would beat up the rest of the league, but seldom do
Yeah.
they do it, right?
Now this game could have been whenever you have a turnover that kind of off keels the game happen early, it'll throw you off a bit. Where this game really should have been a 4-2 game, but Vanacek left the puck right there for basically a birthday present to Nick Merkley, who then just
Yeah,
had an easy tap and goal.
but
So I think that sometimes
The
goes
Capitals
against.
only had 22 shots on goal, though, dude. I watched the game. They
Oh yeah,
should
they
be.
should have been better against them. I'm just saying when
Yeah,
your goaltender, it's kind of like in basketball. If you come out and miss your first 10 shots, you're probably not going to end up blowing out that team, even if you're the superior team in the end. You're probably just going to end up coming back and winning. Where here you had your goaltender completely screw you early on, and then you ended up coming back and winning because he played a fairly decent game as time went on, and Kuznetsov played his best game of the season.
right. Okay, let's move on to our next game. It is the Hurricanes and the Blue Jackets. Uh, I still say the Blue Jackets are going to turn things around this year to a certain extent. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs, but I do think they're going to turn things around. They look better every time now that they've had a couple practice games and stuff like that. They've looked better. The Hurricanes, on the other hand, not on the other hand, the Hurricanes look very good as well. They kind of went on a bit of a tailspin as of late, but a lot of that, it's really hard to be without. Can't understate Trocheck and Teravainen out of the lineup. How, when you look at it from that perspective, they've actually done fairly well. And I think the big story still with Carolina is this Nedeljkovic kid, right?
Yeah, Nedeljkovic continues to impress and look good in net. He had 33 saves last night on 36 shots. I would say he and Marty Nakis for having that brilliant wraparound goal and also the assist on the overtime goal from behind the net to Aho would be the two key players that were really able to put them over the hump, and then as well as Sebastian Aho, because I automatically give the game winner a star of the game. So I think Nate has really put on a show. He was flying around the ice in that game. Set up a couple more people that just couldn't finish. He had a brilliant goal and set up a great overtime goal to what is to Sebastian Aho there, which was his 14th. Who's having another hell of a season. So I think this was a good game for the Hurricanes to kind of push in the right direction because this felt a little bit like a battling game of like a playoff game that they had to battle through a bit, which is usually how playing towards team kind of feels a bit. So I think this is a good game to get them going again.
I'm putting in the chat right now. Do the jacket says, do the BJs look better or do the Canes look worse? I think the BJs, I think the Blue Jackets just look better. I really do. I think they do look better. The big question with the Blue Jackets with the deadline coming up, and I don't want to go on it too, is, and I'm not really sure, is will they stick with Line A or will they trade him? I have a feeling that they're going to try to find another center for Lion out there, but I don't know if they're going to be able to find one. So they're kind of in a precarious position with Lion. Hawks fan, welcome. Okay, we got to talk about who we got to give out some swag here, possibly. It was 4-3 Canes, right?
Canes,
Victor-
yeah.
Victoria 5-0 Canes. Sasha 3-1 Jackets. Avatar 3-2 Jackets. We had most of the people took the Jackets here. Serrano 4-2 Jackets. GoCaps 3-2 Jackets. Mercer 3-1 Jackets. Reed 3-2. Everybody had the Jackets except CL had 4-2 Canes. So close. And Irish had 6-4 Canes. I was actually pretty close as well. And I had 3-0 Canes. But that's going to be the big story to me. It's unlikely. Mercer says it's unlikely the Blue Jackets make it. There are too many good teams. I wouldn't put it past them, but I do agree it's unlikely. But I do think that they're going to play better.
Yeah, it
Roslovic looked,
depends how Chicago keeps going because Chicago bounced back, and we'll get to that game. Lankinen looked
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, but
If they keep winning, that it's just going to cancel itself out. They're not going
yeah,
to have any chance to make it because they're already ahead of them by 3 points. So if Chicago doesn't go on a skid, then yeah, I would agree with Kyle. It's most likely not going to happen, but it depends what Chicago does. They're only going to catch Chicago.
yeah. If and I think if I don't know for whatever reason Tortorella has a big thing for Corpusala. I don't know why. If Merzlikins was playing last night, they probably win that game. So they got to start rolling with Merzlik and stop it with the try to make Corpusala feel good thing. He's on his way out. They're not going to keep him this year, anyways. I wouldn't
It
think,
could be they're
anyways.
playing him so he has more value. Teams do that
Yeah,
to play
possible.
somebody you're going to trade so they have more ice time rather than someone you're going to keep because you know already know what you have in them. It could be something like that, but who
Yeah.
knows?
All right, let's get to our good next game. It's Blues versus Wild. That was 2-0 Wild, right?
That
We'll
was a
go.
two-zip shutout for
Sasha had 5-3 Blues. Avatar had 3-0 Wild. Man, close. Mercer
was or
5-2.
Cam Talbot, excuse me, not Cockney.
Is CL in the? I haven't seen CL yet today.
He
CL,
was in here
CL at the
earlier.
2-0 Wild. He nailed it. Boom. CL. Woo. Everybody
Nice.
paradise.
There you
Everybody
go, CL. At
paradise.
least you had some good luck lately since you're a
Yeah.
fan too, and there's no good luck
Yeah.
there. So
Now all the sourness feeling in your lower parts for Philadelphia Flyers is all gone because you got yourself some swag. You got to tell me what it is. Well, you will if you're in there. CL hype. CL, what do you want? What do you want? You want a bracelet? I think you took a ring last time, didn't you? So you probably want a bracelet or a necklace. Uh,
yeah.
I don't. Nobody else would have took the Wild here. Everybody took the Wild though, and let me say that the Wild did not deserve to win that game. I
Uh,
watched that game.
37, 37 shots to 11. I meant to say, I misspoke. Cam Talbot actually was in this game and played his
Yeah,
heart out.
yeah,
And that was probably honestly one of the best games. And Cam Talbot's been a very good goalie, don't get me wrong, but how he played that game was probably one of the best of his entire career. and
yeah. It was
you,
it was up there.
yeah, and you
Yeah.
saw him a lot in early on with
Well,
how
I
he
saw
scored.
him do that a lot in
Yeah,
the early years of
early years with
Edmonton
Edmonton
until we
until we got
beat
run
him
into the
down
yeah
psychologically to a pulp.
until we got
But
run
yeah,
into the ground like Martin Jones is getting right now in San
yeah,
Jose. Um, but I think this game it just goes to show when you're a team that the Wild are now compared to how they were kind of always in limbo in the past. They've shown they have now with Kokkonen really developing and bringing in Talbot, two goalies that can steal them games. They have guys like Johansson, Fiala, who can kind of help them in games to just have two or three or four big plays and then ride on the coattails of their goaltender like they did. And I mean Kaprizov's goal, that was nice. Like he just kept changing every which direction and then got the wrist shot through. I think Bennington would want that back, but
mm,
that was actually a pretty tough play to judge as a goaltender where the hell I think the shooter was going because he went this way, around the defender, and then went near side. When honestly, in my opinion, if I'm the goalie there, I'm thinking when he comes this way, he's going to try to beat me this way. I didn't even expect him to go near side. So I think that was just a good play by Kaprizov. I think he honestly surprised Bennington going near side because once he got around the defender, I expected him to try to hit it on the far side up top like we've seen him do already. But that was just a brilliant play. The Wild did not deserve to win this game, so this was really Kirill the thrill and Johansson stepping up for 2 goals, and then Cam Talbot playing an absolutely marvelous game.
yeah. Minnesota was playing like they were on the penalty kill pretty much the whole game. I don't know if they were especially tired. I'd have to count their game count. I think they must have been pooching out, and they were just trying to hold on. But St. Louis couldn't put him past anybody. And I know maybe you say, okay, Bennington didn't, could have had this or could have had that. The fact is, this year there's been far too much Bennington not stopping pucks. That okay, yeah, not maybe you can make it a reason why he didn't have that, but for his pay rate, he's got to be stopping pucks that you don't expect goaltenders to stop a lot, and he's not this year. And that's really what
No,
it
he's
comes
not.
down
But
to.
that's one play I think. Like that wasn't a straight up shot. That was a
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
dingling and angling.
That play is not really what I'm, but overall,
But
just overall.
I will say to
Some
address what
goaltenders will
Jack
get that,
said.
when a goaltender's really on, they'll even get stuff like that. And he's
Mhm.
not getting stuff like that. So,
I
anyways,
will say to
I got to go to
address.
the next game because
Well, I
we
was just
got
going to say
two.
for a 10-second thing to address what Jack had said.
Oh,
Jones is playing well lately. I'm just defending him by the chance of the reason I ever thought he didn't play well is the Sharks never got him a backup to not run him into the ground, just like Edmonton did with Talbot, so his career had to recover. It seems like
oh,
that's happening now
oh.
because they have Dubnik, but they finally got him a better backup, probably 5 years too late, but at least they finally did it. But I agree, he's playing well now.
Jones is playing some of the
Good
best
for him.
of
Yeah,
his
he's playing
career.
well.
Okay, let's go to the talk about teams. Now, the Blackhawks Panthers game, again, talk about teams that didn't deserve to win. Lankinen won this game. I mean, the Panthers played really well. Difficult when you don't have your number one center, Barkov, being out. They don't want that to be happening for too long. But the
No,
Blackhawks won, what was it, 2-0?
3-0, because
3-0.
Hagel scored a later goal. Yeah.
Okay, what did we have? I had 4-0 Hawks. Shoot.
Wow. Yeah, that was close.
Uh, Irish had 3-2 Hawks. Victoria had 3-1 Hawks, right around the target. But and everybody else had the Panthers, I believe. So Serrano had 4-2 Hawks. It was about there was a lot of Hawks. See, we got some good hockey people that know their stuff. A lot of people picked the
Yeah,
Hawks last
The
night.
Hawks have helped me a lot with my bank account this year, since I don't have the best. We're obviously working up our site and the other things I don't get paid the most from. So putting in a little bit of change on the Blackhawks and making money has definitely helped me. Or they've been the teams to win my parlays. So it'll be one game left and it would be Chicago, and then Chicago will be like, "Don't worry, we got you, bro." And then I'll be like, "Okay, perfect, that worked out great." Now I have an extra $100. So yeah, Chi Town's been rocking it this year. Whoever's come up, they're one of those teams. That's why it's so attested to Colleton. You gave him credit. Whoever they call up just meshes in so well, which just
Yeah,
goes to show great coaching. Like Hagel's mixed in great since coming up. You had Highmore last year, who was basically doing what Hagel's doing this year, coming in as a late round slash undrafted player. One of them undrafted, another late round, and actually producing. So I think that's pivotal when you are trying to expedite rebuild. Where
yeah,
Pius Suter's been great coming from overseas. That was a brilliant play because it probably wouldn't have counted if he kicked it in to kick it to his stick and then be able to put it in so the goal would definitely count. Um, I think this team again is still moving in the right direction, and it's because Lankinen's playing amazing. One of the guys with Stutzla and Kirill, who's the favorite right now. Then you probably honestly have Lankinen and then Timmy. That's how I would vote for the rookie of the year. And then Subban's been solid as a backup, not as good in his recent starts, but I think you kind of have to get him going again because you can't beat. We don't want to see another goalie get beat into the ground. So you got to either
mm,
acquire another goaltender if Subban's struggling a bit again, or kind of get him going again.
yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to overplay Lankinen, and then if you get to the postseason, it'll be interesting to see how much a rookie goaltender that played every game but like 15 is going to perform. That's why I think that's
Yeah.
a pivotal thing for the Hawks.
For me, okay, two things for this. For me, right now, Colleton is in the lead for Adams Award. I mean, what he's done with that roster is absolutely insane. Uh, like with all the injuries, the young guys that they have, and unfortunately, he probably will end up not getting it because of Lankinen. But I think it's because of Colleton that Lankinen is doing so well. I don't like that idea. Well, your goaltender played really well. Well, that's part of a coach's job too. Sorry to tell you. You can have different goaltenders go into different environments that a coach creates, and it doesn't do very well. So that's first. And second of all, I know I love Kaprizov, but I still like Lankinen for Rookie of the Year this year. This guy is he's almost Vesna. He's doing so like playing so well.
Yeah, he's doing good. I just think it's like a pitcher in baseball. If you want to win the Rookie of the Year, you basically have to do what he's doing. And if they
Yeah,
don't get backup, he's going to have to keep doing it with. Well, they do have a backup because let me rephrase that. If they don't get Subban looking like he did as a very steady backup, where the last couple games he's played, he's kept them in games, but not to the degree he did earlier in the season. If you can get him playing like he did like last month or the start of this month, you're fine. Otherwise, you might want to bring in one of those old goaltenders on the market with an expiring contract, have them be the backup, let Malcolm go back to third string, and then you'll be able to rest Lankin in a bit because you just can't overtax. That's the only worry. You can't
yeah,
overtax Lankin.
right. Okay, let's move on here because we got like 7
But
minutes.
to
We're gonna.
answer Hockey News' thing, I saw on Twitter they ate some of his cap. The
Right, some.
Sabres ate like 1.8 something, I think. One of the insiders tweeted. So that's how, even though it's a third and a fifth to the Sabres, it's going to balance out with the cap, I believe.
Yeah, even if they are only 820,000 over, you just got to send someone down or something. There's always a way to do it. It's not that big of a deal. For
Oh,
820,000, that's easy to hide. So, okay, Red Wings Predators. What was the score of that? That was
that
Predators
was that
won
7-1.
7-1. Nobody had
Yeah,
7-4.
Rocco.
We'll give Irish some love for 7-4 Wings, but that was the Wings, so not really, kind of way off. Nobody had this close. I don't think so. We won't really. There was one, two, three, four, five, six Preds and about four Wings. So as a group, we all had the Preds. Most of us had the Preds, so that was good. Not much to talk about this game. We'll just skip over that one for time's sake. Uh,
Except for Rocco Grimaldi. Shout out
oh
to Rocco.
right, we gotta shout
Yeah,
out Rocco Grimaldi. I
yeah,
love
he had
him
four
too.
goals.
I love him too. He's freaking fantastic. I've always wondered why he didn't play higher in the lineup. I can only imagine that he's a smaller guy and his body doesn't hold up to the way he plays. Like we've mentioned before, he's like a poor man's Gallagher because Gallagher is like inhuman and can play ridiculous amounts of hockey like he does at such a small stature. But I mean, that's just a rare breed of human that can do that sort of thing.
Another guy that played a lot of minutes at a small stature we had on the Flyers in the past was Briere. Not to the same degree of physicality as Gallagher, but that dude would play minutes on minutes as a goal scorer and playmaker. So, yeah, it takes a certain breed. You don't see a lot of those shorter guys being the top of the lineup guys. Uh, I guess with the Flyers, you could throw if he's had 13 points in the last couple of weeks, been the only productive guy. TK is another small skater that plays a decent amount of.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what happens to TK moving forward because he's played like that, but I wonder if his body's not. Maybe he's better for like 12, 13 minutes a night too. So we'll see if that's going to be the case with him. But, anyways, Lightning versus Stars. This one ticked me off for some reason. Something happened with the light. Oh, that's what it was. Chernak, they didn't tell anybody until they were until the game started that Chernak wasn't in. I would not have been picking Tampa if I would have known that Chernak and McDonough were out of the lineup for Tampa Bay. That's a lot off of any team. I don't care who you are. That's two huge defense. That's two big defensemen out of the lineup. I would have definitely been all over the Stars. But we had five. Did everybody took the Bolts except for Rad?
What do you
And
have?
CL had 3-1 stars and Rad had 3-0 stars. That's pretty
Four,
close.
three. Yeah. I mean, good for Hinch, though. He was out, obviously, for a game, comes back and scores the game winning goal. The Stars deserve to win this game. I mean, 41 shots to 27. I mean, realistically, the only reason they were in this game, I thought Adi played another really good game, was because you had Yanni Gourde have a puck kind of fortunately bounce to him, and then Killorn. Like, there were just some fortunate bounces in front of the net for the Lightning's goal. Other than that, this game probably could have been a 4-2 or a 4-1 game if the Lightning didn't get rebound bounces that went in their favor there. So
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like they definitely outplayed them. Heiskanen just continues to go from here to here. The dude's just blowing through defenses now like it's no business. And so was Klimberg. John Klimberg just blew through the defense last night of the Lightning like it meant no business too on that one play before he got poke checked. So I think Dallas is looking good. I said this on my video I did with them on my Sports Fanatic news page. This team still has a chance because they have the games behind. They still have games to catch up on. If they can make it up, they're at a +5 goal differential. They could be the team to catch Chicago, not Columbus. So it
Yeah.
just depends how they play in the next 5 to 7 days, or 5 to 7 games, excuse me.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get some of their guys back. I mean, having a guy like Radulov out of your roster, and of course
And
Sagan.
Fosca. Fosca's an underrated player for
Fox
them.
is very good defensively. Is an
Yeah,
excellent third line center that doesn't get enough credit. You're right, absolutely. Had a little more offense earlier in his career, but decided to focus on defense and did so very well. Yeah,
you
it's
could
tough
get
to
more
have.
offense out of him if needed, though. Like I feel
Yeah,
like Team Fosca is one of those guys. Like you obviously don't want this to happen, but if one of your guys went down and you had to move him back up in the lineup, you would
yeah.
probably see the offense come back again. It's
Mm.
just he knows what his place is. I think it's one of those
Yeah,
things.
I wonder. I haven't looked at it, but if he might be on the kind of on the edge of somebody that could be heading to. It'd be great for his career if he could give it a shot in Seattle and see how much offense he could produce. That would be great for his career.
Get
Wouldn't be good
more.
for wouldn't it be good for Dallas? And I doubt Dallas will want to do that, but it would be great for his career. Okay, let's go to the next one. Golden Knights versus Avalanche.
This is
Um,
another well,
I this Avalanche team I've been saying now ever since they got um, Byram back. That Byram McCarr combination is just absolutely sick. We haven't seen a defensive combination like that in quite some time. That it's almost to the stature of Pronger Niedermeyer. Like that. That's how much
yeah.
how strong I think that is. That is an incredible tandem and a weapon that very few teams can combat. And last night they just played out of their freaking heads. Did you watch that game?
I've watched the beginning of it, and then Fleury was looking a little flustered last night. He let in a couple goals that I don't think he would normally let in. The defense hung him out to dry. So even though he was on Pittsburgh early in his career, I've always enjoyed and been a big fan of Fleury. I didn't want to watch his suffering, so then I kind of shut it off later as time went on. But I watched Don. I saw Donskoy's brilliant spinorama goal, auditioning to maybe be a ballerina in a play or something. Had a nice spin around goal there for Jonas Donskoy, where Pacioretty, of course, had the only goal for them. Comper's another. He only has 3 goals this year, but I feel like talking about short energizer players. JT Comper's another guy you throw right
Yeah,
in with the Grimaldis of the world.
yeah.
That he can
I tweeted
produce.
that out last. I tweeted that out last night about Confer. Did you? You saw that, right?
I didn't actually know, so that's hilarious
Oh,
because I didn't see that. But I
yeah.
just think he's a guy that brings good energy to the team. And then, of course, you had your captain score, and all of a sudden, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare is a goal scorer in the most recent games for the Colorado Avalanche. So
Yeah.
um, they're getting it from everybody as time goes on now. Vegas stood no chance in this game. The Avalanche came out and played one of their best through and through games of the season since they had their own issues due to the protocols and everything. Now it seems like they're fully getting into their groove.
Yeah. What I tweeted out last night was that Comfer, they were doing it. He was doing an in between periods interview when they do, they do that. They picked him.
Mm-hmm.
He had blood all over his jersey and he was had a gash on his chin. And I was like, that's hockey. That was killer. So,
Yeah,
anyways, We got to
And the
get
big
to
thing
our.
with Colorado is they've scored real quick. They might have a better chance if they keep this pace up to win than Vegas, and Vegas will move down to second because their Vegas's goal differential. If you think theirs is nuts at a +29, Colorado's one goal away from being at a +40. Their goal
Yeah.
differential is a +39. So you don't score much on the Avalanche. So if you go down early like that, it doesn't matter if you're Vegas with that +29 or St. Louis with that -9. You're most likely not coming back on Colorado.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been saying. Is beginning of the year, you could tell they were working on a defensive system, and I was saying if once they get this defensive system working, and they start focusing on the offense, this team's going to be virtually unbeatable. They're my team for the cup as long as their goaltending can hold out. Okay, let's get to the picks, everyone. Everybody in the land should be coming in here soon now because this is the most exciting time that there is in pretty much all of the world. This what I say. Okay, we're going to be going picks for. We're going to get through tonight's picks, and we're going to try to do all through all of Saturday's, or as many of them as we
As
possibly
many
can.
of them. Yeah.
As many of them as we possibly can, because there's lots for Saturday. But it
By the
should be
way,
fun.
with the just so you know, with the Coyotes, Antti Ranta is also banged up now. So Dotov is their backup with
Oh, he's hurt
eight
again. Yeah,
eight
because
with eight.
Hill was in last. Hill's going to be in
Yeah,
tonight. Yeah.
Hill and then Pravestov is their backup, who they think is going to be a future option for them, but I don't think they want him up in the chill yet.
Yeah. They gotta just wrap Ranta up in bubble wrap everywhere he goes, and just have like hire people to follow him around to make sure that he doesn't bang into something or something. Like that guy is injured
Yeah,
constantly,
both of them got low
constant.
bodies, both goalies,
Yeah, probably growing problems or something like that. I don't know.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I've got a growing problem too, but it's not the same thing. Okay, new. We are going to. Whoa, I don't want that. I don't want the score.
The first
So
game docket tonight would be Devils and Capitals because that's a 7 o'clock game.
right, tonight, Devils versus Capitals. I think this should be fairly interesting. Samson off in net for Washington, who has looked good since he's come back. But
Yeah,
Wedgwood is really the story of this one because he's really revived a career that never was revived. Like he's just starting to put something
basically be a
together
late.
of a as a
Yeah,
career here. Small, great to root for too because small goaltenders are starting to come back and make a play here in the NHL, and he's one of them. He's putting up some really nice numbers there, right?
yep, 259. I mean, his win loss don't look at that because that's the Devils are a rebuilding team. But a 259 and 918, that means the team's playing well around him. If you just look at his positioning, he looks pretty smart and efficient in the net. So I think he's definitely looking pretty good there. He's obviously played for the Devils this year, had good seasons for Rochester, Binghamton, and the Syracuse Crunch. In the AHL, so he's been around the block. Good for him to see him have some success. Um, I would say I would lean just because the Capitals were able to find a way to beat them with their best goaltender in, which Wedgwood's been good, but Blackwood's one of the best young goaltenders. Um, I would still definitely lean DC in this, and I'll go a close score again. I think Washington or New Jersey tends to really block more shots with Wedgwood in to protect him, just because they know they can kind of lean on Blackwood more. I'll go 4-2 Capitals with an empty net being the fourth goal. So it's really a
Four to
3-2 game with an empty net. Yeah.
4-2 Caps. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, oh, Avatar, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. You gave your pick 4-2 Caps.
Yeah, 4-2.
Um,
He had 4-2 caps. Oh, Avatar and I think alike. There we go, Avatar. Great minds think alike. Kyle Mercer had 4-1 caps, Pirlo.
yeah, I got that. I'm waiting for maybe
And
a
then
couple more people to show up here because they tend
Irish.
to
Did
show
you
up
get
about.
Michael Irish?
Yeah, Stahl is
Uh,
going to Montreal. Yeah, we talked about that. I'm going to say I think it's going to be a lower scoring game today because I think Wedgwood will probably keep on playing the way he's playing. He's been very impressive. Samsonov has looked really good. And somebody said 3-2 Caps already. I'm going to say 3-1 Capitals.
I pretty much said 3-2 Caps because I think Wedgwood will keep him in the game, get pulled, and then someone on Washington will score while he's pulled. So
Yeah.
I think he'll be the only reason they don't lose by more because I think Washington playing that close of a game against them last time is going to come out with a lot of pounce in this game to try to show who they truly are. And I think the reason they stay in the game is New Jersey's defense has looked better of late, and obviously Wedgwood has looked good as well with Blackwood. So that's why I said 4-2, but one will be an empty net, I think.
Right.
I'll just I'll predict the empty netter. Screw it. What the hell? I'll try to be that lucky. Kuzi will get the empty netter. If I get that right, I might buy a lottery ticket tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. Ducks versus Blues. Blues are coming off of a back to back. Have they finally started? Like they have really delayed the confirmations of goaltenders. No confirmation. Ville Husso should be in, especially since Binnington hasn't been playing that great. And Ryan Miller should be in for Anaheim. St. Louis has played a boatload of hockey. I believe this is their first game home in quite some time, and it's off of a back to back against Minnesota in a game that they should have won. And then the Ducks have been, you know, you say what you want. We never expected the Ducks to win a lot, but
No.
I haven't minded their compete level this year at all. Have you?
They've had a good compete level. Now, from defense, that's not always the case. But offensively, they've had a good compete level. They've hung out their goaltenders a lot. I feel like that's simply if their defense was doing what Jersey was doing and actually starting to show some signs, other than if your name's Jamie Drysdale and Manson coming back from injury, Fowler's usually been okay. Um, I think Dostal might have got a game already because Miller's getting overexposed to the 10th degree right now. So I feel like if you had a better roster that you think could protect your goalie, you would have already saw Lucas Dostal, the 20-year-old netminder, who they think could, if they move on from one of the best in the game, Gibson here, be their goalie. I think you would have seen him in already. I still think you should see him in at a certain point because it's not fair to Ryan Miller to keep throwing him out there and overexposing him to the 10th degree when this team is just not playing as smoothly defensively in front of them as they should. Offensively, I've liked their compete. Defensively, until lately in a couple more recent games, like Deli and I said on the West video, it's been a struggle watching this Ducks defense all season. So I think you need to put Dostal in some, or you give Stolar's games because it's becoming unfair to Ryan Miller. But I would have to go with this one just because of the Blues who coming in after the back to backs. I'll go two to. I'm doing Irish to score reversed. Actually, I was going to say 2-1 Ducks just because they're a little bit more rested. I think you'll see their young stars, developing stars on offense, continue to produce, and that will be what gets them over the hump. And then whether it is Miller or Dostal's in, I think Dostal, if he debuts, will have a great first game. I think if Miller's in, he'll be able to have a good enough game to put them over the hump.
Okay, I'm really trying to get everybody in here. 4-3. So, what did you have for the score?
2-1 Ducks.
Okay, Brojo, 2-1 Ducks. I was thinking something like that too. Did anybody take 3-1 Ducks yet?
No,
No.
Avatar took 3-1 Blues.
Okay, I'm gonna go 3-1 Ducks. Uh, it's just the how CL has 4-1 Blues. For me, it's just so tough to play back to back, especially when you travel. And that's really what 4-1 Blues. CL's going 4-1 Blues. And wouldn't be surprised 2-1 Trucks. Yeah, it's tough to travel. The Blues have really been had a difficult time putting it together this year. A lot of people going in and out of the lineup, injuries. Pareko, if they had Pareko, I think they'd be a lot better. And then the elephant in the room is like we've said, I've mentioned the last when we were talking about last night's games, is Binnington just hasn't hit the Binnington level that they need Binnington to be, and he's not going to be in now. Huso has been decent, I suppose, is what you could say.
Lately. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
been decent lately. Yeah.
decent lately. So he could, we'll see. He's kind of on the precipice right now of whether he's going to be an NHL goaltender right now or not. I think Huso will be an NHL goaltender, but still would be best suited. He seems like one of those 27-year-old become a really good backup guys, right?
Yeah, not yet type. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think
Yeah, I got
this
you, Serrano.
oh you
So,
got yeah, I think this is just a game where the Blues are not as rested. The Ducks will be able to. They have a lot of quick young talent, and I think they'll be able to take advantage of some of the more tired feet of the Blues. And I think Josh Manson coming back, who's trade bait first of all. So, but second of all, coming back just proves to people you can't have the people that think you can just kind of be like how the Flyers organization thought keep drafting offensive defensemen. How sometimes your organization falls into that trap at times. In Edmonton, they keep getting offensive guys rather than defensive. I think having a guy like Manson come back and their defense being more tolerable. I don't want to say they're playing good, but more tolerable in the
yeah,
8 games he's in, just
yeah,
proves how key having a defensive, just a straight up defensive defenseman in your
no.
lineup is. And I don't know why people don't see that more because Carolina's been spitting proof of it since Brett Pesci's dropped his foot on the ice in Carolina. But
Yeah, Pesci,
that's just
they're starting to come around to it a little bit more with Slavin and Pesci. They got two of the best defensive.
no, no,
But
no. I'm saying Carolina's always done it right. I'm saying some fans don't see the
well,
importance
that's what
of
I'm
having
saying.
defense.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I think fans are starting to see it more with guys like Slavin, where he's doing. If you're a fan and you happen to be watching Carolina, it's noticeable what Slavin can do to for a hockey team. I think Manson is too, but I'm like a knowledgeable fan that watches it constantly all the time. Manson, to me, is one of the most underrated defensemen in the league. I would love my team to get him in a heartbeat. Another guy that
Flyers. He's right-handed too, so that'll
another
be a
one just like that in Anaheim is Lindholm, also very underrated. Okay, so next game we're gonna go Sharks and Coyotes. This Sharks team has looked better as of late, this last little while, and we talked about it with Jones. Nabokov, who is known to be the goalie whisperer, comes into San Jose and looks like it's starting to catch on with Jones. I hope so. Seems like a good guy. Coyotes now will be going with Hill because they just cannot keep their two number ones going. I believe also Pitlick will be out of the lineup, and that's a lot bigger than people think. Pitlick is a very big player for the energy of that
a
team.
big energy. Yeah,
Yeah, big, and especially for this team. So Sharks seem to get some flow about them now. Carlson comes out and says, I didn't come here to rebuild, and he said it in an interview in public, and they seem to be finding some flow. It looks like they look like they're starting to get a few things together there in San Jose land. What do you got to say about that?
yeah. I mean, they played some good. They played the Kings really well. They won 2-1, and then 4-2. They're now playing Arizona, who I would say, with how the Kings have played most of this year, is a minuscule notch below what the Kings have looked at through the entire year compared to what Arizona's look like. So, you're playing a team you're both pretty much at 500. 14-14-5 to 13-14-4 is not really different. So I think if you keep playing the way they're playing, the fact that the Coyotes are missing their Energizer Bunny and Tyler Pitlick, and Aiden Hill's been producing very good, but with how the Sharks have been creating more offensive chances, especially in that second game against the Kings, I'm going to take the Sharks 3-2 in this game. against the Coyotes, where I think if Jones is in again, which it seems like that's supposed to be the case, he'll have another good game. He looks like now with having Dubnik, having that goaltender room, like I was talking about earlier in the video, has finally, it's 5 years late, but has finally really helped and got this going in the right direction to turn back around Marty Jones' career, which is great to see because he's a good goaltender that they kind of ran into the ground, was once a very good goaltender and seems to be at least becoming good again. So it's very nice to see that he's had a hell of a career for being undrafted, no matter what we say about his recency performances. So good for him to now be bouncing back.
Yeah, oh, for sure. What was I going to say? I'll tell you what I got. Yes, I did get you jacket for the last game. So far, we have Avatar, Projo, Mercer, and CL. Serrano, I haven't seen yours yet. Serrano, 4-3 Sharks. Uh,
CL, did you put avatars in? You got avatars?
Avatar's 5-4 Yotes, right?
Five
Yeah.
four Yotes, yeah.
CL, yeah, 3-2. So we got a couple more people thinking they got their protractors out and they're doing all their stuff. So we'll wait for them to come in. But
Joey said 4-3 Sharks. He just put it in.
Serrano, I got that. Yeah, where's it?
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh, okay.
okay, anybody who's new here, what we're doing is we're whatever game we're talking about, you tell us who's gonna win and what the score is gonna be, and then Monday we're doing them for Saturday too. Monday, when we come for the weekend report or weekend review or whatever you want to call it, if you get the score and the game right, you get fabulous prizes. So there you go, perlocoptered right to your door, so you don't even have to wait. Jacket 5-4 Sharks and Rad 3-2 Sharks. 5-4 Sharks. Big over. Everybody? Oh, one person. Avatar took the Yotes. Rad 3-2 Zona. Fine. Okay, we got one. We got another Coyotes. We got two Coyotes on
So,
this one.
yeah.
Okay, we'll go to our next game. Is that our last? We got one more game for the night,
Yeah.
or is that it? One more?
No,
Jets for
this
oh,
Winnipeg and Flames.
Jets versus Flames. Jets, I believe, will be rolling Hollebuck out. And let me check
Uh,
the starting goaltenders again, although they've been really delayed today. Uh, oh, yeah, no, they are. Hollerbuck and Markstrom. Calgary played in Ottawa 2 nights ago. So they flew 4 hours through three time zones to play this game against Winnipeg. Uh, and this is the beginning of a back to back between the two of them. Rough schedule for the Flames. This is a game that the Flames really, really have to have, right?
Yeah, it's going to be a big game for them, but I just don't see it with how good Winnipeg's really been pushing their ante and playing of late to now become one of the best teams in that Canadian division, only 2 points tied with Edmonton at 42 behind Toronto. That's becoming a pivotal three-way race and potentially a four-way race now with the Canadians getting even stronger. So I feel like the Jets' Statsny's been a beautiful surprise for them points production wise. You knew what he would do otherwise. Um, their first two lines, really three lines, I think they're deeper than obviously the Flames. They'll be able to take it to the Flames, and I think their depth scoring is going to take advantage of the Milan Lucic, Sam Bennett line. Dylan Dubé's been impressive, but Bennett, I think it's time for him to get traded, and then Milan Lucic, I mean he's producing more than you would think, but still sucks at defense. So that line, other than Dylan Dubé, is not defensive at all. So I feel like the third line of the Jets with Appleton, Lowry, and Kopp, who scored 4 goals the other night, is going to really take advantage of this Flames team, and that'll be one of the reasons why the Jets win this game. And I'll make it 4-2 Jets.
Okay. Oh, Ingracia. By the way, Mike Ingracia, I think you're new. Welcome to the land. Uh,
Welcome, Mike.
touch yourself some subscribe, hit the like button, and sit down. We got the best. We got We got the finest of our China out for you, my friend. Flames, going with the Flames, going off the board, and Gracia right out of the hoop. I got your last one too, 2-3-1 Zona. And yeah, that's the thing with this Jets team. And it's what has me kind of leaning to the team that could win the North. Their offensive depth is unrivaled in the league right now. I mean, their lower lines of Appleton, Lowry, they're putting the puck in the net and they're playing fantastic defense, right? I don't know. I'm kind of leaning to them to get out of the North right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. They could be the team to overtake Toronto. That would even be more of a point to think they'll be able to beat Calgary, coming off of flying across multiple time zones, like you said. So, I think I feel pretty good with my 4-2 Winnipeg prediction.
My North Stars need more exposure. Old porn star, good looking honky. All right, buddy. That was funny. Uh, yeah, just out of desperation. I thought about that, Kyle, about the desperation factor with Calgary. But that desperation factor was really what that should have been there in Ottawa last night because that was a desperate game. And they played okay, but not the kind of game you want to see out of a team that needs the game as bad as that. Okay, now we're going to Saturday's games. First of all, shoot, I should have Saturday's games. Saturday's games. No, that's not Saturdays. This is Fridays. Fridays games. Okay, Saturday's games. We're going to start with the afternoon games. Uh, and we're going to burn through them for a half an hour here. What's the first afternoon game, buddy?
It's either Buffalo and Boston or us in New York. They're both at one.
Okay, so we'll go with the first one.
Also,
Sabres.
Joey just put in Flames 4-3, so write that down real quick.
Okay, Sabres versus Bruins. Okay,
Yes, yeah.
Joey. Okay, Calgary. Oh, now I'm getting a whole bunch for that game. Where the heck is that game? Rad had Rad has 4-2
Or
Calgary,
two Calgary.
and Serrano has 4-3 Flames. Wow, it's got a lot of. Okay, let's get Buffalo versus the Bruins. We're not going to look at the
Uh,
goaltending. We can kind of figure out the projected goaltenders. Maybe Rask will be back. Maybe Halak. If Allmark eventually has got to get back here, I mean, if Allmark is in, Buffalo might have a chance in this game. Injuries should still be. I mean, we don't really know, so we'll just go Mike Ingracia.
yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty good. This is at home for the Bees. They played really well in the first game back, even in a losing effort for being gone for a while. I'm going to say uh, 3-1 Bruins in this game over the Buffalo Sabres.
Mercer 5-0 Boston.
5-0, big O, 5-0 shutout. Okay.
And what did you say, Joe?
3-1 Bees.
3-1. Really, that tight, eh? I
Well,
didn't.
they're still trying to work their way back where Buffalo's actually been playing hockey. So I feel like that'll keep it a little bit tighter. Otherwise, I probably would have went 5-1, Bill.
You know what? I didn't even give a pick for the Sharks Coyotes game or the. I'm gonna say Sharks Coyotes. I'm gonna say 4-1 Sharks, and for the Jets Flames, I'm gonna say I'm gonna say 4-1 again. 4-1 Jets. And where did I put the Buffalo one? I'm all aflutter here. Okay. Sabres. Okay, we got to have more now. CL 4-2
4-2
Boston.
Boston.
Hockey News Reports took off on us today. Uh,
Is it?
Honky, 4, 4-0 Canucks. Okay. Serrano. Serrano, the first one with the Sabres. That would be something. How many have they lost? 14 in a row now?
Yeah, something absolutely ridiculous like that. I think it's 14 at this point.
Ricketts in the house. Rickett, we're doing the Sabres Boston game if you want to put one in. Rad has 3. Anybody in the chat there tell us how many games they've lost? Is it 13 or 14? 14. Bruins.
Either way,
Perlo.
they've been playing bad, so.
I'm going to say. I'm going to say 4-1. That's another 4-1 Bruins again.
You went 4-1, I went 3-1. C-Rad went 3-1 too.
Avatar 3-2 Bruins.
Hmm.
C-Rad, yeah, I got Rad. Sabres don't win until they play Philly, says Jacket.
It's a high possibility, especially if
Five
all march
one
in.
Bruins. 15?
It's
Oh, okay.
14 in a row.
14 in a
14,
row. Wow.
that's what Ricketts said.
18 is a record. What was
And
that? The old
Rossi said 15.
Washington Capitals team that only won 8 games?
Yeah, that's not a good record at the end of the season, that's for
No.
sure. But
Okay,
I
next.
think, yeah, go ahead.
Let's go next game. We got a cruise here.
Yeah, that's us and next game.
What? I'm sorry, I missed that. Oh, there are Flyers.
Then usually that'll work, but something has to happen in Philly quick. I still don't think they're going to win this game tomorrow. I mean, they haven't looked good enough to win this game. Elliott will probably play fine. He'll probably just get hung out to dry. So I'll go 4-2 Rangers.
Avatar has 6-2 Rangers. So we know that Zibanejad's going to get a hat trick. That we know. Uh,
Yeah, that might happen. Yeah.
that would be incredible. First team getting 2 hat tricks back to back with the same team only happened
And both
once.
of them were natural hat tricks, I'm pretty sure.
Natural hat tricks, yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, like in the room in between periods is like, yeah, so who had Sabanajad again? 5-1 Rangers. Maybe watch out for Sabanajad. Maybe we should try that. Jacket is going to say 8-3 Rangers. Again, a double score. 8-3 Rangers. What did you say? 4-2 Rangers? Okay. Pro Joe.
4-2, yeah. CL said, I'll be at the game and I'm there. Good luck to him. So obviously,
Oh,
5-2.
no. He's going to be at the game. 5-2 Flyers. Yeah. I would love to take the Flyers here, but there's no reasonable way I could do that sort of thing. I'm not going to throw away some Perlo swag that easy. Um, what am I going to say here? Are they going to give the Flyers a break and go with Gorgiev here? Maybe. I'm going to say 5-3 Rangers. At least try to say that it's going to be close, sort of. I think we got everybody there now. Oh, did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay, good. It sounded like I lost you there for a second. I think we're losing some people. Rad, 5-2 Flyers. I think we're going in and out here. Rad, 5-2 Flyers. All right, we'll go to the next game then. What do we got? Pick
The
whatever
next
one you want.
one is Columbus and Detroit, so it's at Detroit.
Jackets
But
versus Wings. Uh, that now you would hope that they would be putting Merzlikins in finally. Serrano had 5-4-2 Flyers.
yeah,
Wow,
4-2 Flyers, and then Rad had
he's a,
5-2 Flyers. It is.
he's a Flyers fan.
Yeah.
Serrano.
Oh no, C-Rad
Jack.
is though. He just ended up agreeing with CL.
Oh, okay. Jacket has 3-2 Detroit. Uh, 3-2 Wings. I just it's got to be Grice still. I don't know if Bernier. I don't know when Bernier is planning on if there's a timeline for Bernier or not. But it's pretty tough for the Wings right now without him. Another one for the Wings from Avatar.
3-0 Wings, yeah. They are at home, but I mean I don't know when you're a team that figuring it out like the Red Wings how much that really matters. Because Pickard, who is your backup now, has only played in 2 games. So unless if you're going to roll with him, which is more of a third string goaltender in the league, then I think either way, Grice is struggling. Pickard hasn't been himself of late, even to the degree of how he's looked in the past with some NHL teams. He's only been performing well in the minors, unfortunately. So I feel like this game leans the Jackets rather than the Red Wings, even though it's at home. Especially if they put in Merz Lincolns, I would go 4-2 Blue Jackets.
Frojo
Unless if
four.
Bernier all of a sudden comes back tomorrow, then that could change
Yeah,
that.
that's going to be yeah. All of this is going to be totally dependent on what happens with Bernier for sure. Perlo, I will go. Um, I know. I just haven't liked the Wings with them. I think I'm going to go 5-2 Jackets. I think it's going to be a
Joey said
blowout.
4-3 Jackets.
Serrano
And then if you didn't
four
get
three
Mercer's, he said the
Jackets.
same exact score for the Wings.
Yeah, Mercer has. Yeah, I got Mercer.
4-3,
I
yeah.
get again. Maybe Tortorella goes back to freaking Corpusalo again, and then I'm maybe changing it up a little bit because Corpusalo will probably let a few more in. But besides that, I really got to go with the Jackets here. Okay, let's go to the next game.
That's the rivalry of Vegas and Colorado again. That's
Whoa,
or
was that an afternoon game? The Jackets and Wings.
yeah, the Jackets and Wings was the other 3 o'clock hour game. There's two 1 o'clock hour games tomorrow and two 3 o'clock hour
Oh,
games.
three's not too bad, but afternoon games sway to the road team a lot more because both teams are off their schedules a little bit, like routines. Uh, Afternoon games are go against routine, and hockey players are very routine or your routine. You know,
Routine oriented. Yeah.
yes. I was going to say routinerary. Is that a word? It is now. It's routinerary. Okay. Uh, okay, so this is going to be a humdinger of a game, I would think, unless is Avalanche back in Vegas again?
No, this is actually in Colorado.
So they did a back-to-back home and home, or
Yeah,
was it
because
in
this has
Colorado? Yeah.
the the last game was in Colorado also. Yeah, that's where they
Oh,
beat the
okay. Was
Rock.
it?
Was also in
Okay.
Colorado. Yeah.
Okay.
I do,
Vegas.
I do, I do think in this game, I don't see Vegas coming out that flat in two straight games because they came out really flat against the Avs in last game. Um, I think it will be much closer, which is kind of what we've seen in the score predictions already from Jacket, Avatar, and Kyle. I think Vegas. I'm gonna roll with your logic there and say I think Vegas in the afternoon game will be able to get them back for one. It'll be a really close 3-2 Vegas win.
Yeah, I wonder who was Flurry in the last one too, right? And then it's got to be
Flurry.
Grub.
That's
I'm sure they're going to go with Grubauer again for sure against a big
I
team
would
like
think. Yeah, I
this.
don't think to put Johansson in against Vegas. Yeah.
No way. No, that yeah, not a chance. That would be suicide. Avatar. Avatar 4-2 abs. Mercer, okay, we gotcha. Perlo, I just can't. I don't know if I can go against this Avalanche team the way they're playing right now. Probably won't be as much of a blowout, but I still think it's going to be. Somebody already went 4-2 abs. Okay. I'm going to say 5-2 Avalanche. I really. This team is just absolutely crushing it. Rad has 3-2 Knights.
Vegas 4-2 for Joey.
Yeah, I got that. Okay, we'll go to the next one.
That's Tampa and Carolina on mine.
Oh, that's two. That's a big game.
Yeah. I think for me, Tampa really didn't look that great. They kept it close, but because of fortunate goals for them against Dallas, I feel like Carolina, the way they play their game is on steroids version of Dallas. They run through their defense and goaltending that leads to their offense, but they run that system even better than Dallas. So if Dallas gave Tampa trouble and some of the most trouble they had all season, I feel like that's going to translate to Carolina and even a bigger effect. Where I that's why, especially with the way Nedeljkovic is playing, Reimer's making the saves he has to make when he's in. I think Carolina is going to be able to take this game. I feel like Tampa doesn't match up great against the Stars and Carolina due to the way they play their games compared to Tampa. So I'll go 4-2 Canes.
Okay, Projo 4-2 Canes. It's going to depend a lot for me too if uh, Chernak is back. That's going to be a big thing too. Mercer
That's
3-2
true.
bolts. 3-2 bolts. Big contest for Nedeljkovic going up against the Vesna guy like well, my head just went
Vasilevsky.
totally
Yeah.
Vasilevsky. How did I forget Vasilevsky's name? Vasilevsky there. I'm sure that's going to be Nedeljkovic. Now, are they playing on a back to back against each other there? I think they are, aren't they?
You mean in terms of Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah,
No, looking on here, they do not play
they do not. Okay,
Sunday. Yeah,
so it's a one-off game. Yeah, this might change, but I got to go with the Canes here too. Tampa Bay does this. It seems Tampa Bay does this every year. In the regular season, they go through spells like this where they're just not, on all cylinders, and they just don't seem like they're all on all cylinders here. They could be on this game. Serrano has 3-2 Canes, and it's a Saturday game. Nedeljkovic and I think it's going to. I'm going to go kind of off here. I'm going to say 2-1 Canes. I think it's going to be a really tight
tight scoring game.
matchup. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, with Nedeljkovic and Vasilevsky, uh, this is a really important game too. It's going to have a playoff feel to it. I think it's possible that it could be a really low-scoring game more than what people would think. Especially with the Canes playing. The Canes, when they're at their best, are not really a super high-scoring team. They take care of defense first,
Yeah.
counter react, and almost like the Islanders, but maybe a little more aggressive than the Islanders, right?
Hmm.
Something like that. So
Yeah, a better version of like all the Isles, Dallas, and Kings play similar play, and coming off of not playing Dallas that great and getting lucky it was so close due to some bounces, honestly. I feel like they would match up less even against the Canes. That's why I went 4-2 Canes with Tampa. I feel like if you don't match up great against Dallas, they play that system to a nth degree. You're not going to match up great against Carolina.
Always forget to shut off my window capture. Okay, next game.
The next one is your Edmonton Oilers against the Toronto Maple Leafs in Toronto at a 7 p.m. Eastern start time.
Oilers versus the Leafs in Toronto. This is a very
In
interesting game because the Leafs are having troubles. Let's face it. The depth in that for the things that we thought they could have trouble with this year are starting to rear up their ugly head here. Their scoring depth when their top guys aren't producing is not there, and they're gonna. I think they're gonna be looking for that at the trade deadline. Also, Campbell has been playing all right defensively. As far as their actual defense is concerned, has been And then the Oilers are very inconsistent. This is one I really am interested to see what everybody's got here. I see a lot of Oilers popping up here right away. What do you think, Joe?
I think the Oilers recently, obviously, to come back in the standings where Toronto was so far ahead, to now let Edmonton as well as Winnipeg really catch them. I think I'm going to lean towards Edmonton too, just because in this month of March they've been playing the more inspired hockey, 9 out of 10, than Toronto has at times, where Edmonton's starting to get mixed in a little bit more, looking good nights out of Yamamoto, who's banged up. And then guys like Shore and Chason and Kahar on that fourth line in games I've watched have looked better this month. Same with the Cassian, Archibald, and Haas line, just to defend and kind of set a tone where you're always going to rely on that top scoring. I'm going to lean Oilers. I'll go 4-3 Edmonton. If I'm Edmonton, though, I'm definitely trading for on top. If you're going to get another goaltender, great, but I think you need one more scorer too.
I
But
think they need.
I'm definitely going to go 4-3.
I agree with them. While you say 4-3 Edmonton, okay.
Yeah.
Joe 4-3 Oilers. I agree with the Oilers themselves that have come out and said that they're looking for a third line center. That would be what I would be looking for first before anything. Getting Yamamoto back might help the scoring. 9-7 Oilers for Rad. There's a score you don't see too often. 9-7 Oilers. Uh, I'm going to go with my Oilers here too. The score is where I'm just not sure what I want to do with. I imagine it'll be Campbell. Campbell's not too bad. Smith has been having a really good year. Kind of why I'm going with the Oilers here. You always seem to think that when these two teams come up together against each other that it's going to be an offensive battle, but it never is. It almost always is a defensive. They always play defensively. Uh, Let me do one thing. One thing I haven't been doing is what their weekly schedule is, because when did they go to Toronto? When did they just head to Toronto now? Uh,
No, they headed in. I remember
oh my
seeing the
gosh,
post
that's right. They had all these days off. They were supposed to be in
yeah, because they
Montreal.
had all these days off from Montreal. Yeah.
Wow, they could be really rusty here. Sort of like Toronto was against Ottawa, but now, wow, I'm gonna have to really think about this game. Uh, Not now, but like I'm gonna put something down now. But when it comes time to actually doing a pick for this, it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go weird here. I'll go 2-1 Oilers. I think it's
2-1.
gonna be a sloppy sort of game. Yeah, sloppy sort of game.
Well, if
Yeah,
we're
it should
ready to
be.
move into our next one, it's a division rival of the Flyers division, the Isles and Penguins, which is in Pittsburgh.
Oh, Hockey News Reports is back. Okay,
Uh,
Isles versus Penguins. That's
yeah,
an
Isles
interesting
versus
game for sure.
Penguins in Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
Penguins.
I think they should start playing Sorokin more. The Islanders. He looks like he's grasping the North American game, and I honestly think
Yeah.
he's the better goaltender. So we'll see if that happens.
I mean,
And
they
the Pen
have of
should.
late been putting them in a bit more where they kind of been platooning where early on Varlamov was clearly the starter, but we'll have to see. I mean, they have a good goalie core regardless. Right now, they're definitely one of the teams in the lead for the Masterson, I would think.
Who's for the Masterson?
I would say, or what's
Oh
the
no,
isn't
not
that
the Jennings. The Jennings.
the Jennings? I mean, yeah, not the
Yeah,
Masterson, the William
the
Jennings. Yeah,
Jennings. Yeah, yeah.
they would be. I don't know why I always confuse those two. They would be the ones in the lead. One of the teams in the lead for that. Minnesota might have something to say about that as well as others, but they would be one of the teams in the lead for that right now.
Yeah, 3-2 Penguins for Mercer.
Yeah, this
Um,
is at home for Pittsburgh. That's what's tripping me up. I wanted to take the Islanders, but I feel like Pittsburgh might be able to take this game being in their own barn a little bit more likely than being on the road. Um, but if the Smith is in, I also think they are not going to win. Assuming Pittsburgh goes with Yari, I'm going to do. I pretty much was thinking the same thing Joey just put. I'm going to do 4-2 Penguins. If they go with the Smith, I don't think they're going to win.
I think Smith is a better goaltender right now. I was just gonna say I don't know. I think he's a better goaltender right
I mean,
now.
they've been
So
playing better in front of him. I'm not sure if he's the better goaltender. Like that's the thing. When a team plays better in front of one guy, it's hard to tell if they've been the better goaltender. It's just the teams performing better in front of them. Like the same can be said for New York. Like obviously Shesterkin's better than Gorgiev, but Gorgiev's not as bad as his stats because when they put him in, that team forgets how to play hockey sometimes for whatever reason.
yeah, we're waiting for some more guys. Come on, throw them in out there, guys. Hockey News Reports. Where are you, buddy? Took off on me today and had to come back. Um, yeah, I'm on the fence about this one as well. But I think it's gonna be a one goal game either way. This feels like a tie, and this feels like an overtime game for sure. Um, is Malkin going to be back anytime soon, or is he out for a long time, or what's going on with him? That would certainly change things if he all of a sudden showed up.
Yeah, well,
Um,
that would give them even a better chance to win. I'm just gonna go with the 4-2 because I think
oh,
Pittsburgh at home.
Kapanen too is hurt. He's week to week. He's out for a while. Yeah, boy, tough one, tough one. Because the thing is tough is that the Penguins just seem to be able to find ways to win all the time, right? Both of these teams actually. Uh, wow. Okay, I got to pick something. So odd for no reason. 4-3 Isles. I don't know why. That's probably going to change. Rad has. Oh, Rad just said that. Maybe that's why I did it because Rad was about to say it. 4-3
Yeah, great
Isles.
minds think alike. Yeah.
Go Caps. What do you got? You got. We're Islanders Penguins right now. Put a pick in. We got 8 minutes. We got some more games to do.
Yeah, our next game, um, our next game would be the Predators at Chicago at Chi-Town.
Yeah, this is somebody that Jacket was bringing this game up earlier. That this is actually, at one time we would have looked ahead 3-2 Pens. Okay. At one time we would have looked ahead at this game and thought, okay, that's nothing. But the Predators are making it interesting now. Saros is playing pretty well. Josie's back. They could have some more injuries back by then. I don't know. And then is this a spot where maybe the Blackhawks give Lankinen a rest?
Um, I feel like no, just because they know that the Predators are catching up in the standings. I think they'll find some other team um to give him a rest against. Rather than a team that's really been coming up and making some inroads in the standings against you. Now, if Subban plays, he's been good other than his last handful of games. So if he can play like he did in 6 of his 9 games and not the other three, then they'll be fine. It's just like 3 or 4 games that have really,
Well,
when you
this
play that little games, it messes with your stats. But I would say roll with Lankinen. If they roll with Lankinen, I think they still have been getting more depth scoring than anyone would have ever imagined. Nashville's offense still leaves a lot to be desired for me. So I would go 4-3 Chicago. I think it'll be.
I got you. Go Caps. By the way, this is the front part of a back to back. They're going to be
Yeah,
playing each other back to back here.
I
So
would go. I'm going to go 4-3 Chicago. I think it'll be close. And the teams will kind of try to bring it a little bit more early, so it'll be a good pace game early for the capital, or not the capital, the Blackhawks trying to defend their lead in the standings, and the Predators trying to really come at them and show that they can still contend with this team and not just fall back in the standings again. So
Go Caps has 4-3 cap 4-3 Capitals. We haven't even got to the Capitals. Capitals playing on Saturday probably. Serrano,
no, I don't know where he got 4-3.
I
That's
think
not
he
even a Saturday game.
4-3 5-3 Blackhawks.
5-3. Yeah, he won up my score. I said 4-3. He gave them an extra goal.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a really interesting game as well. Um, I'm going to lean. It's in Chicago.
This game is in Chicago, yes.
Yeah, Perlo. I'm going to lean the Blackhawks too. Man, they score a lot of goals in bunches. What's great about Chicago is they have so many high percentage shooters that even if they're getting outperformed, they can just pot one here and there by surprise. Like they got a lot of high percentage shooters on their team,
Hmm.
and they like to shoot high. And they're going to be playing against Saros, who's a shorter goaltender. So, um, gee, I like that 5-3 score, but I'm going to go 4-2 Hawks.
4-2. That's a good one too. Yeah, I like that.
We got a
Now,
lot of.
if we're ready to move along, well, people are still putting them in for that game. The next would be the rematch of the or not the rematch, the matchup, I mean, of the Florida Panthers against the Dallas Stars after Dallas is coming off of a very good win against Tampa. So the other Florida team, back-to-back Florida teams for the Stars, as that game is again in Dallas.
Panthers versus the Stars. For me, this is going to come down to whether Barkov is in or not. I don't know if Florida has much of a chance without Barkov in this game. These are two driven teams, and if they lose this game, though, you're starting to look at a slide too. Also, can they stop, please, going back to Bobrovsky? Okay, it's enough already. It Drigger's your better goaltender. You need to make the playoffs. Just play Drigger. You can figure out Bobrovsky later. Uh, that's what
Yeah,
I have a feeling they're going to go with Bobrovsky though.
yeah. I mean, I really like how the Stars came out, not even having everybody back, but just by having one guy back, they came out and really showed a lot of spunk last game. All they had back was Hintz, and Hintz really produced really well. Where it seems like they might have Fosca back for this game, which would really help them. I don't think they have obviously Radulov, but they if they do, that would really help them even more. I see this being a good win for the Stars against back-to-back of the Florida teams. I'll go instead of 4-3. I'll make this one a 4-2 Dallas. Panthers will get one less goal than the Lightning.
You wonder who Dallas is going to play here. I think I would be going with Ottinger from now on. I really like Audie. Not every game, of course, but he would get
Yeah, you got to
60%.
rate it.
I give him 60% right now of the games for sure. Hudobin has been inconsistent. So that's going to depend a lot. If Hudobin's in, I may lean Florida here, but it's really hard to with Barkov out because I think overall there's a couple kids on that Dallas team that are really starting to fly right now. Robertson, man, that guy looks good. I love
Yeah, he
that
looks
kid.
like a great player. Yeah,
He
he
looks
looks
like
like a
he's
very
going to be.
productive player.
He looks like he's going to be a solid player. Uh, okay, I'm going to go. Nobody did the 3-2, so I'm going to go the 3-3-2
3-2.
stars. 3-2 stars on this
And
one.
that'll bring them above 500 too to 12, 11, and 8 if they are able to get that game tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, do we got time for one more? Yeah.
Our final game is the Winnipeg Jets against the Calgary Flames. That'll be a back-to-back as they're playing Friday and then Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Eastern both days. Um, this game is a little bit harder since it's a back-to-back. Both are. You're probably going to see the other goaltenders of um both clubs. So you're going to see Brosseau and you're going to see who's the backup for Calgary again? Oh, Rittich. Rittich, that's right.
Rittich,
You
yeah.
see Brosseau
Brossois and Rittich, yeah, Rittich.
and Rittich, which Rittich was playing earlier before Markstrom kind of came back and got into his groove again. Did step up for them this season. Now he has a 2.86 and a 9.08. Um, I feel like with how Brossois is playing, I would still lean Winnipeg if it goes backup goalies, but I feel like this will be like a 3-2 um game. I feel like both of these backup goalies are pretty good, and it's going to be a battle of who kind of comes out with a little bit more energy after playing the night before. So that's why I'll go 3-2 with only a 5 goal total.
Mercer's got 3-2 Flames. Avatar's got 3-2 Jets. You have 3-2 what? Who?
I would say 3-2 Jets. I think they'll be able to
Jets.
just beat them. Yeah, they'll show a little bit more energy than the Flames.
Serrano's got 4-3 Jets. I haven't seen Jacket. Is Jacket still around? He hasn't put a pick in for a while. Uh, I suppose I should tell people that, well, we're almost finished here, but Hockey News
Six.
reports HHNR has 6-3 Jets. I have. uh, it's hard to do when you have back to backs like this who to pick, but I still say that doing that travel across the country and then playing the next day and then the day after that, I think the Jets are going to sweep this. Uh, oh, you did a video on Stahl. Okay, fine. Um, I got to go with the Jets for sure. I am not as up on Riddick as you are. I think Riddick will is. I think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be. I think this is the one where the the Flames implode, where it's like they.
Okay.
I think it's going to be brutal. I think it's going to be brutal. I'm going to say 5-1 minimum Jets. I think. Yeah, and the Jets will probably be tired too. So I would say it would be even bigger than that. Maybe 4-1 would be better. Somewhere in that area, 4-1, 5-1, because they will be on the back to back. But
That's yeah. That's why I didn't. That's why
Brossois
I
to
don't
me
like.
is the way better goaltender.
I think he's better. I just think Rittich, when Markstrom was out early in the year, stepped up in about a handful, like 5 to 6 games for them.
Yeah,
and then has come back down to earth. He's that like streaky goaltender. So if you put him in the right spots, he tends to show out. Where I feel like if you lose, like I predicted on Friday, Riddich has been a guy for the Flames that'll kind of supplant their struggles a bit over time. Where if they put him in, he's kind of that one of those energizer goalies. Even if he's not performing well, that might help them to play it close. I still don't think they'll win, but that's why I went 3-2.
Yeah. The Hockey News Reports ask, will like the Flames take the bottom spot in the North? And I don't know about you, but I think everybody pretty much unanimously when we did the predictions in the beginning of the year had Calgary and Ottawa sec bottom of
One
the. I
last or
think
second to last, yeah.
yeah, I think I had Ottawa last, but I was like, I wouldn't have surprised me at all if Calgary was last. And now I think Calgary could be last. Yeah, I think that they've lost the team. I don't think Daryl Sutter's going to turn this team around. This team needs to find a way to believe in themselves. Again, that's where it all comes down to is believing in yourself. And this team just doesn't seem to have the I care level anywhere near enough. I do think that Goudreau is gone. I think Goudreau's gone. Do you think so?
It would make sense. I mean, he in interviews I've listened to this year doesn't seem to be making a big deal about anything anymore, but it's just the way he's producing, the way your team's trending. It seems to make sense to get the most assets you can for him now and kind of just start moving in a different direction for your franchise and let him
No.
go to a place that's best for him.
That is the last game, right?
That is the last game, yeah, and I think, like you always say, we wrapped up our full
Oh, this is
42
this is
for
our
the
full
week.
42. Yeah. I've
Yeah,
had questions. What does it mean when I say, well, you have this is our full 42? In hockey, you'll hear people say, we got to give our 110% and all of those things like that. Well, I've only got 42 to give. So I give my full 42 every day, but it's all I got. So that's my full 42 is why I say that. Johnny Hockey, New York City. If you, I can talk about that real quick. I've heard a lot of stuff about him going to Philly. I don't like that because there's a heart problem in Philly, and he doesn't look like he's solving any heart problems in Calgary. So I'm not really a big fan of him going to Philly for the assets that it may take to get him. I think he'd be better off going to a team like Boston, but that's probably too. I mean, it's not up to him really. I don't think. Does he have a no trade clause even?
I don't
Or
think so. And then another team because they have the cap space to, and he doesn't even get paid amongst the elite of the elite salary wise. Um, LA could be a team since they have been rumored with Eichel. I wouldn't be surprised if they turn the tires on Gaudreau too. So.
LA? Yeah, I think he. Let me just do quick. Let's see. We'll look him up here if he has. If you got to go, just go, Joe. If you're in a hurry, I can continue with these guys for a bit. But um, I have some time here, so I don't mind yammering on about this
Okay, yeah, because I'm
team.
gonna probably head out because I promised people at like 5:15 I would play basketball with them after our show because it's
Okay.
80 degrees. It's 80 degrees, believe it or not, in
Oh,
Philadelphia in March today. So
it's
yeah,
far lower than that here, and he has a no trade clause starting next year. He's gone.
then
I
they should
would.
definitely move him. Yeah,
He's gone at the trade deadline. I think he's got one more year. Yeah, and he's got a no move. Like, yeah, I'd be definitely selling him to the highest bidder at the
yeah, I
deadline
think
this
he's
year for
definitely
sure.
gone at that point. But I thank you for letting me hop on again. I'll definitely, if I'm free, hop on Monday so we can see how wrong we were about our predictions for the game scores this week, and try to bounce back next week. Maybe I'll get one since we had 2 days to go off of rather than just one day. So maybe I'll get one of those goal scoring predictions right. Usually predicting the games isn't the hardest, but predicting the score is definitely not the easiest. But
Score's the
again,
difficult part.
enjoy, yeah, enjoy all the great hockey, everybody. I thank you for letting me join, Pirlo. If you still want to roll for a bit, that's good. But I'll drop out and I'll talk to you guys on Monday, and subscribe to my Sports Fanatic news channel for more Frolic if you want to see other stuff as well.
Yes.
But peace out,
Subscribe to that
everybody.
Sports Fanatic news channel. And you did a really good one there about for the awards with E-Money. That was
Yep,
friggin'
with
awesome.
money, please check that out. But I appreciate you all for the support, and go over there. Check out E Money's On the Money podcast as well. But have a great, safe, and pleasant weekend, everybody, and enjoy the hockey. I'll talk to you on my channel this weekend and on Peerlow's next week when I hop back on. So
Yeah.
peace out,
You,
everybody.
all right. Yeah, you guys